Field of Glory Kingdoms was never trying to be the flashy medieval grand strategy game for everyone. It arrived and looked like a game for a very certain kind of player, the sort who enjoys medieval politics, a bit of long-term planning, many layered systems, and of course the occasional collapse of an entire realm because the nobles and clergy have decided to be a problem at the same time. Hello everyone, my name is Tom and this is LT Gaming. Myself and my brother Luke run this channel and we cover all sorts of different types of genres, so feel free to subscribe if you think we're doing a good job, and of course like this video and help get Field of Glory Kingdoms out there on the algorithm. But today we're asking a question: is Field of Glory Kingdoms actually good in 2026? This is a dense old school grand strategy game that won't be for everyone, but with the continued support behind it and the new Burghers and Bombards DLC on the way, it's the perfect time to jump back into this one and see how it is in 2026. Now the first thing to say about Field of Glory Kingdoms is that it isn't really medieval grand strategy in the modern, highly polished, endlessly role-playing sort of sense, so forget about your Crusader Kings comparisons. This is more a systems first and very, I would say, mechanics heavy kind of game. It has a far greater interest in the health of your realm rather than turning every ruler into a walking soap opera. Yes, you've got dynasties, religion, warfare, expansion, but the real focus here is to hold your kingdom together, manage your provinces properly, keep order under control, balance the influence of different estates, and then try to grow your realm without immediately turning it into a big unstable mess. And this is where a lot of the identity comes from. It's not really a game about painting the map your colour as quickly as possible, a la Paradox. It's more about whether your kingdom can support your ambitions once your ideas get a little bit above your station. This also means it's a bit immediately less welcoming than some of the bigger names of the genre. It is slow, more deliberate, and far more interested in whether your choices make structural sense rather than whether they're exciting in the moment. So if you like this sort of thing and you like a strategy game that feels a bit more like actually governing than just conquering, Field of Glory Kingdoms will make a very strong first impression for you. So what this game gets right is it does make ruling feel awkward in a very practical and real manner. So you don't just expand for the sake of it. You take a region, then straight away you're dealing with whether it's actually loyal, whether it's the wrong religion, whether it's too far from your capital, and is unrest going to be a problem. So essentially conquest becomes an admin nightmare, like I probably imagine it was in real life too. And authority becomes a huge part of why all this works. So it's not just a flavor stat sitting in the corner, it's basically the spine of the whole campaign. Low authority can drag your realm backwards and even tip it towards civil war, whereas strong authority keeps subjects more loyal and the kingdom itself more stable. And then there's this really complex building side of things, and it's a lot more interesting than it first looks. So you don't just slap down whatever gives you the biggest number and call it a day. You have to think about food, local development, conversion, order, loyalty, and which regions make sense for certain buildings. A region with the wrong culture or religion can make a headache for a long time for you. And then on top of all of this, you have the population side of things, where it starts to feel properly medieval. The game leans hard into social layers. Peasants, freemen, clergy, nobility, and in the upcoming DLC, burghers as well. And they're not just there for the sake of it. They feed how regions develop, what buildings you can meaningfully support, and what sort of kingdom you're going to create over time. So all these things are the reason why people love this game, but also why some people can bounce off it. The game has a strong focus on the more fiddly aspects of ruling a medieval kingdom. The slow bits, the right we've conquered it, now how on earth do I govern it bit. But if you're the sort of strategy player who enjoys this side of things, like having to fix your loyalty, manage claims, use regional decisions to develop things, and basically turn a shaky realm into something more durable and lasting, this game is something very special. Alright, quick pause to say if you're into strategy games that make you think rather than just paint the map, give the video a like, help us get some visibility. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to jump aboard. I know a lot of you aren't, almost 85%, so what are you waiting for? Alright, back to the video now. Now I've covered what makes this game good and engaging, so let's look at the other side. What makes it hard to love straight away? There are definitely moments when this game feels less like it's challenging you, and more like just being a bit of a stubborn old bastard, to be honest. A lot of it comes down to how much information is thrown at you. You can often be left squinting at a region, wondering exactly what part of the kingdom has decided to become a problem now. Is it going to be my loyalty, my unrest, religion, or is it just the distance to the capital? And more often than not, it results in, is this something I should have done 3 turns back? And then the answer is yes, and that's not always tremendously helpful. And this is where some of the friction comes in with the game. You absolutely have to learn it, and once you do, it makes a lot more sense. But there is a fair bit of time investment in wading through the numbers, the icons, and all the stats. But ultimately, I really connect with the core premises because it pushes back against mindless snowballing. Don't get me wrong, I love games where I can go on a power fantasy and conquer the entire world, but I also love games that challenge me and make me care about administration, faith, loyalty, long-term stability, and this one absolutely has some teeth. And while it is a bit rough around the edges presentation-wise, it is one of the most challenging, fun, and engaging grand strategy games I've played in quite some time. What makes 2026 a genuinely good time to look at Field of Glory Kingdoms again is that it's not just feeling like a game that's just been launched, made its splash, and then kind of wandered off a bit into the woods. It's still being supported. There's a patch that's just landed here in March, focusing on balance changes, gameplay refinements, and fixes across battles, warfare, diplomacy, and regional development. And that really matters for a game like this, because when you're dealing with this many interlocking systems as Kingdoms is, steady iteration goes a very long way. Then you've got the Burghers and Bombards, which is coming out on the 31st of March, and thankfully Slitherine gave me early access to this, so I've been able to dive into it a bit. Is adding in 2 new campaigns. So a late campaign from 1223 to 1470 and a mega campaign stretching from 1054 to 1492, which is already giving a much broader historical arc to play with. The really interesting bit for me is what the DLC is going to do in actuality, because this isn't just here's some new factions, off you go. It's adding in an advanced economy system built around burghers, guilds, inflation, and building upkeep, which to me just feels like a very natural and logical extension of what the base game is already doing well. So if the core game is about keeping a medieval realm stable, while everything pulls against you, then adding a richer urban class and more economic pressure sounds like the sort of complication this game will thrive in. Then there is the military side of it as well. The DLC pushes the game into the age of gunpowder with handgunners, bombards and cannon-equipped galleys, and fortifications adapted to deal with artillery. And I think this matters because it will give the later campaign a stronger sense of transition. Rather than just playing more medieval turns on a bigger map, you're moving into a period where the economy, warfare, and even the shape of power itself starts to change. So, is Field of Glory Kingdoms actually worth picking up in 2026? In my opinion, yes, I think it is. It's very much a slightly awkward, slightly demanding, and a deeply niche sort of game. And it's not the medieval grand strategy game I throw at absolutely everyone and say, right, off you go then, have a lovely time. Because some people really won't. Some people are going to bounce off the interface, the pacing, and the amount of information it expects you to juggle. However, if you're the kind of player who enjoys that side of things, then I know many LT gamers are, you want strategy games where conquest creates more problems than it solves, loyalty, piety, authority, regional management, all have to be juggled by you, I think there's something rewarding for those sort of players here. And honestly, when I loaded this game back up for this review, I think it's aged very well. It's still got the same rough edges, it's still unapologetically old school in places, but it's got confidence in what it is. It's got more support behind it, new mechanics coming through DLC, and it's no longer a curiosity for hardcore medieval grognards, and more like a genuinely worthwhile recommendation for the right audience. So no, it's not a mainstream grand strategy must-play for the whole world, but if you like your strategy games dense, thoughtful, and a little bit hostile, then yes, Field of Glory Kingdoms is absolutely worth a look in 2026. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you have, drop a comment, of course, with your thoughts. Give the video a like, help more people see it, and of course subscribe for more gaming content. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye now.